All right. On behalf of the American Towing and Recovery Institute, we're going to start our part 2 of electric vehicle training. Part 1, we're going to have available on our website shortly. We're going to recreate the PowerPoint presentation we just went over for part 1, and part 2 we'll be recording and try to have it available within 24 hours. Then the first Wednesday of January, we'll do part 3 and part 4. And the first Wednesday of every month is going to be the training day at American Towing and Recovery Institute with free training, starting with electric vehicles right on through rigging, etc. Our guest speaker this evening is Ron Moore. Ron's introduce himself in a second. If you haven't listened to part 1, make sure you go back and listen to it, because this is a part 2 of a multi-part training session. Ron, would you introduce yourself to the group for me, please?
So my name is Ron Moore. I live in Plano, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. My background is not in tow and recovery. My background is as a retired firefighter, fire chief, training officer as well.
Ron and me have been working together for about 20 years when NFPA established a standard for firefighter and tower cross training. And Ron and me also Ron has been a tremendous source of information, starting with hybrid vehicles, following through to electric vehicles. And he's prepared this presentation with towing and recovery and firefighters in mind. My towing and recovery friends, pay attention, because a lot of the things he talks about, construction of the vehicle, are things you're going to need to know as we start having to hook onto these things and whatnot. So Ron, I'm going to kick it off to you, if you would, please.
So what you see on the screen now is a 7-step electric vehicle lockout tagout protocol. If your agency or company, a department has a response procedure for you to follow, make sure that it addresses at least these 7 key points. These are 7 key points that are addressed in all the different types of electric vehicle training. And in item 1, where it talks about XEV, it talks about whether it's a sedan, whether it's a SUV, whether it's a CUV, whether whatever type it is. XEV is what the industry uses to talk about generically. It can be any of those. So all the 7-step process always starts, no matter if it's National Fire Protection Association training or training from an individual at a company, a mechanic in a garage, training from a manufacturer. They all start with step 1, identify, go down through stabilize, get in. Then they want you to put it in park and set the parking brake. We'll talk about that for step 4. They want you to then turn the ignition off. We'll talk about that. And then between 6 and 7, I want to draw a special attention, because in the fine print, the manufacturers that really have their act together talk about, hey, this is an electric vehicle. You may want to use the electrical accessories. So door locks, windows, hood releases, hatchback releases, they all work on the low voltage, which is what item 7 is all about. So we'll talk about between item 6 in our protocol and item 7, we'll talk about there is an opportunity there to use electrical accessories. So this is the 7-step generic process that will get you and your personnel at an incident through the scene if you have follow these 7 steps in this order.
How about now, Ron?
Yeah, this is good. So this is an advertising photo of 4 out of the 5 currently available Tesla models. I'm just using Tesla as an example because I have this ability to get this photo. From the left to the right, the Tesla Model S, as in Sam. The red one is a Tesla Model 3, the Model 3. The white one is a Tesla Model X. And then the blue one over on the far right is a Tesla Model Y. So here's 4 electric vehicles from the same manufacturer. The 5th one we're not showing, which is now available, is a Cybertruck. They haven't come up with a picture yet. The issue is why I need to not only recognize that it's Tesla, but I need to come up with the exact model of the vehicle, whether it's an S, a 3, an X, or a Y, is because each each has different emergency procedures for handling that vehicle post crash, post fire, or disabled type vehicle.
That's
Next
part of the
slide.
reason, that's
Go
part of the
ahead.
reason we came up, that's part of the reason we came up with the app,
Mhm.
to help identify the different information you need for the different model vehicle, year model, etc.
So all four of those Tesla vehicles that shown in this advertising photo have the corporate Tesla T at the front and have the corporate Tesla T at the rear. At the most, the only other exterior badging may say a dual motor, which simply lets you know that it has a motor for both front wheels and a second motor for both rear wheels. It tells you that it's a Tesla, but it doesn't tell you that it's a Model S or a Model X, for example, which are two completely different emergency procedures for dealing with them in a breakdown or in a crash in a fire situation. You better get used to VinFast as a responder going out on the scene. You better get used to VinFast, the VF8. Look at the V, that's all, not the license plate, that's just put there for the promo photo, but the V, this is a manufacturer that's now selling in the United States. VinFast is from Vietnam. This is BYD. This is a manufacturer also now selling in the United States. It's from China, BYD. These are brands that responders may find in a crash damage, disabled, broken down fire situation, for example, a BYD vehicle. They have BYD, I think, has three of them. This is China, South Korea, Japan type situation, Vietnam situation.
So this is one of the reasons that our app has over 700 different vehicles. There's a lot of different manufacturers that I have never heard of before. And I have been pointed out by our in-studio producer, I haven't even mentioned the name of the app that's sponsoring this program. It's ev-clever.com. First, everybody that's watching this, we're going to send you an offer for the first 30 days free. Sorry for a commercial interruption, Ron. Go ahead.
Now, as far as identification, which is step one of the 7-step lockout tagout, the manufacturers will tell you, well, hey, you responders at the scene should not have a problem determining that the crash damage or the broken down disabled vehicle or the fire damaged vehicle is an electric vehicle because it has no open front grille. Well, that's very simple. The large picture, the Tesla Model 3, it's very obvious that the front grille is closed. But the difference between the reality that we have as a responder to an incident out in the real world and the difference in the reality of a showroom salesman is your showroom is in pristine condition, and out in the real world, we may find a vehicle that doesn't even have a front end due to damage or due to broken down. The reddish color upper right photo is a Volvo XC40 called the XC40 Recharge, which is an electric vehicle. That's also considered no open front grille. It might be hard for you to even determine that, but that's one of the things they'll throw back at us as responders. It's the difference between our real world as police, medical, fire, rescue, tow operator, and the real world of the showroom. Now, one of the other identifications that they'll throw at you is, well, hey, you should just lay down on the floor and realize there's no catalytic converter, there's no exhaust pipes, there's no muffler. Yeah, there aren't, but this is a Nissan Leaf, which is a full electric vehicle. In order to see underneath this vehicle with tires fully inflated, no damage, sitting on a flat surface, I need to literally be on the ground, which is a very unsafe situation for us to physically be in at a real world incident. So you have to agree with them that there is no catalytic converter, no exhaust system, but it just might not, that's their reality, and we're talking the real world. Now, the Nissan Leaf, for example, the red one that you see in the upper left, the badging is on that vehicle. It doesn't in any part of the exterior of the vehicle say that it is an electric. It says zero emission, or it says Leaf. The ID dot 4 down below that, the lower left, ID dot is the code used by Volkswagen for electric vehicles. ID4 is a very popular Volkswagen electric SUV vehicle. Over on the right, bottom right, is the Stallion from Ford. Don't call it a horse, don't call it a pony. It is the Stallion. And what they'll say, depending on what the enthusiast ordered, the Stallion can be an illuminated Stallion. Upper right is a tough one. Usually when I run a seminar, it's the least recognized. That is those two right angles that face each other. That is what you get at the corporate front and corporate rear badging on a vehicle called a Polestar, Polestar, Polestar 2. That's it. It's a derivative of Volvo Polestar. And then the one in the middle that is on top of everybody is the Tesla corporate T. Right now, the leading electric vehicle manufacturer worldwide is Tesla. The leading hybrid vehicle manufacturer worldwide is Toyota. That may change as months go by, but right now Tesla leads the electric, and Toyota with the Prius leads the hybrids. So this. And then, oh, I'm sorry, next slide is good. Then this is a lady at the Ford F-150 Lightning plant doing quality check. You can open the cover door. This is the only vehicle I know of that has a cover door on the right side, as well as this cover door that you see here on the left side. This is the only one, however, that actually operates. This F-150 cover door will open, and all it will tell you as a responder is, oh yeah, this is an electric pickup truck, that somewhere on this vehicle there are electric circuits. So it is an indicator of kind of what you're dealing with. In this case, it'll tell you, in fact, that it's an F-150 that's embossed in the cover plate. Way back by the rear taillight on the rear quarter panel is where the only other additional badging is present on this particular pickup truck, where it says Lightning, the word Lightning on each side. Now, when you open a cover plate or cover door, you'll see this receptacle. This is the type of receptacle. This happens to be on a F-150 Lightning pickup truck. So you see this cover door. It still doesn't tell you the make or the model of the vehicle. It tells you that you're dealing with an EV, an electric vehicle, not necessarily where the battery is or how the vehicle is built, where the vehicle is strong or where it is weak. That's what the ERGs and the rescue guards are all about. So here's our real world. We're called to the scene of a crash. Roof airbags have deployed, top photo, and the front end is damaged. Maybe a responder would talk to the occupant if their bell isn't ringing. Maybe they're conscious and alert. Maybe you'll get into the glove compartment and find the owner or operator's manual. Maybe you'll see on that hood, which is now called the frunk. Maybe you'll see the corporate T. It tells you that it's a Tesla. But this is an example of a vehicle, and the same vehicle is at the bottom. This is an example of the vehicle that has no model information at all. It'll tell you it's Tesla, corporate T at the front, corporate T at the rear. It'll tell you maybe it's a dual motor if it is, which it is in this case, but it won't tell you that it's a Tesla Model S. So you'll have to come up with other means of determining, maybe it's a VIN number, some other means of determining what you're actually dealing with, make and model.
One of the things about the Clever app is it does have pictures of the automobiles to help you match that up as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, step 2 of the 7-step process recommended by all of the original equipment manufacturers and all of the training programs is to stabilize the vehicle. They'll talk about chalking the wheels or blocking the wheels so it doesn't roll silently forward while you're there, so it doesn't roll silently backward. The issue is all drive tires, or what they call traction wheels, need to be stabilized or chalked. You don't know which one of the 4 in this case it is, so you have to chalk them all. The other issue for responders is the EVs require a low profile wheel chocks. Tesla has a car, the Model Y, for example, which is their biggest seller right now. The ground clearance with inflated tires is 6.5 inches off flat ground. So wheel chocks that come off our tow truck, wheel chocks that come off our fire apparatus, the folding hinge type, won't fit and will not properly chock or stabilize the vehicle. So make sure that you have some system where you just get used to preventing the vehicle from moving forward or moving rearward if you're going to be particularly laying on the ground working on near it.
You know, one of the most dangerous things about electric vehicles and/or hybrid electric is they're running and they're silent. Everybody worries about the high voltage and whatnot, but super dangerous aspect is they're running and they're silent, so chocking the wheels becomes more of a necessity than it already is.
Step 3 talks about get inside. Well, that's I want to emphasize about step 3. If it's only the driver as the only occupant in this vehicle, and for some reason, let's say they're injured, I still recommend open every door, roll down every window that you possibly can, because if you decide later on to shut down the 12-volt electrical system, any door that remains closed, any window that remains up becomes closed and locked in that condition. So step 3 of the 7-step process is get in. Make sure that your personnel realize that vehicles are a little different nowadays. My generation different from the current employee generation. This particular one has a joystick. You push it forward to go in reverse. You pull it backwards to go forward. And then the P, which in this particular car has the little indicator light, is for the parking brake. I don't think your operators will have any problem with step 5, which is shutting it off, turning the ignition off, because it may be an ICE vehicle, or it may be an EV, or it may be a hybrid with that keyless power button to turn off. So I think that's something that they'll work with. Getting in is going to be a bit of a challenge. Putting in park. I want to mention one thing about the parking brake. If I'm talking fire department for a moment. If a firefighter is a little too aggressive and does what we are trained to do on ICE vehicles, and this firefighter goes on their own and kills the 12-volt battery. If the battery, the low voltage is shut down before the vehicle goes into park, you can push the button all you want, you cannot put it in park. If the parking brake, like you see, is set and then you kill the 12-volt power, it will stay in park. So the key for the person in charge of this incident is knowing if you're going to set the parking brake, it takes the low voltage, which in most cases is 12-volt power, to accomplish that task. Turn the ignition off is step 5. Step 6 is when you turn the ignition off, things inside should start to go dark.
So Ron, if I had a vehicle that wouldn't shut off, I push the power button, released it, it doesn't turn off, what should I do?
One of the things that is in the fine print, it's kind of like a universal default code. If you push that power button that is to the right of the steering wheel on every car except Jaguar, if you push that button and nothing happens, press and hold 3 to 5 seconds. It's kind of like a universal default code. It will tell the system, hey, there's something wrong, let's shut down. So that's one thing to try. Before you get inside, remember step 2 has already been accomplished, which is chalking the wheels, so it's not going to roll forward. So turning the vehicle off by press and hold may be the next thing that you would try.
Thank you, Ron.
Mm-hmm. Now this is a Tesla with the screen lit up. That means I had a battalion chief call me from an incident scene, and he said, I want to get this vehicle out of the intersection. We're waiting for the tow truck to come, but the broken down crash damaged vehicle is blocking the intersection. I asked him, if you're sitting in the driver's seat and you look at the screen, which Tesla calls the touch screen, is the screen still illuminated? If it is, like in this case, then everything low voltage electrical will still work. Doors, door locks, windows, and then you can see that what they call the stalk, STALK, sticking out of the steering column. It has the park, reverse, neutral, drive sitting on it. So you just would press the park. if the battalion chief told me, no, I'm sitting in the car and the screen is dark, oh crap. Now you just made the car into an electronic brick, and now it's going to have to be set on dollies or set on skids to be moved. So and on the cyber truck, they did away with the stalk, STALK. They did away with the stalk, and the reverse, neutral, drive, and park are up on a stem of the mirror, which is kind of up at the top of the windshield, up by the roof line. So if you had a real problem with this, there is a way. That's what the black print says at the bottom. You can talk to, hey, young guy, young responder, I need you and Siri or you and Alexa. Go inside the car, figure out how to put this car in park while we're there. So there is a way, as long as the 12 volt is still lit up, there is a way for you to get this vehicle to go into park. Or if it's in park, get it to go, Wes already mentioned, into transport mode, which is equivalent of a tow operator neutral on the vehicle. Now, one of the things that you should ask about based on a Pennsylvania incident is ask about the key. It may be like in the upper left, it may be a physical metal mechanical key. On the right side, there may be a key fob that operates the vehicle, or down on the lower left, there may be an app. I have my 2022 Leaf on my app. Oh, good for you. Can I see your phone? Or can you unlock the door? Can you put it in park, whatever? So these are 3 of the 4 different types of keys that you may find. The physical mechanical key at the top left is being phased out while everything is going to the app, or like Wes will go to the next slide. This is what Tesla recommends. They have this wallet, credit card, thin wallet card. This is the key. All you have to do is have this in your wallet or have this in your purse. When you walk up to the car, this Tesla key card transmits a signal to the car. It unlocks the driver's door, for example. It allows the driver to get in and then to drive away. So there's 4 different types of keys. In the Pennsylvania incident, the key remained with the patient when the patient was transported by EMS to the hospital. Once the key got out of range, the patient in the back of the ambulance on the way to the hospital got a distance away. The car went into burglar mode and locked down, shut down.
I don't care what part of the country you're in, that's their dying grasp, is grab them keys, isn't it?
So if you look inside an electric vehicle today, and the screen, which is typically either directly in front or to the right of the steering column, if that is still lit, that means the low voltage is still working. Remember, the high voltage and the low voltage systems are 2 separate systems. The high voltage may be in this particular case, it's 400 volts. It may be a 400 volt electrical system. The contactors that allow that electricity to come out of the high voltage battery and flow throughout the vehicle are held closed by the low voltage 12 volt. So if you kill the 12 volt battery, all these screens will go dark. The 12 volt battery still has stranded energy, and the high voltage battery, which is the skateboard floor pan mounted battery, still has stranded energy as well. 300, 400, 800, 900 volts. So one of the things I want to reference, we talked about in part 1, is the interim guidance. It's available, particularly related to towing and recovery. There's 3 of them available free from NHTSA.gov. And one of the points that they try to bring up in the interim guidance for tow and recovery and storage facility operators is that any crash damage hybrid like you see at the top, or any crash damage Tesla like you see at the bottom, should be hauled away from your scene without any of its wheels turning. So how you get it up on the rollback, how you get it off the rollback is not covered in the interim guidance. It's just towing it from point A to point B.
They do have the guidance that you talked about earlier, the 3 lengths of the car and not as fast as you can walk. You can move it 3 lengths of the car and don't move it any faster than you can walk. That's correct, isn't it, Ron?
That's correct. And then also the dollies, like in the ditch type dollies, or the skates to get it up on the vehicle. If you are towing it using, let's say, the wheel lift on this rollback, if you're towing it and the rear axle is spinning, that tow operator better be driving to the local fire station, because the fire crew is going to have a drive-in car fire, because the regenerative braking is potentially working, but the vehicle is turned off or damaged, and it's not going anywhere. So it's overcharging. So towing away is what we're talking about. If you don't do that, then as a tow operator, you haven't covered some of the fundamental cases. I've run into tow operators in my experience that say, if you call dispatch, if it's an EV, don't call me. And it's because they're afraid of this situation right here, which can easily be addressed with a little bit of training, a little bit of equipment.
That's right. And keep in mind, even if the car is totaled, it's gonna catch fire because you're generating electricity with nowhere for it to go.
This is a photo that I grabbed from the internet, and it's just an electric vehicle. It happens to be a Tesla Model Y involved. If for some reason the fire department decided, or the rescue personnel decided at the scene, that they do need to make the car dark, then you would go to step 7. And just realize that if they take this car and access the battery and kill the 12-volt low voltage, then that rear door and window on the passenger side is closed and locked. All doors that are not opened normally when you have the 12-volt power become jam doors. So I'm trying to say, if you need to shut down the 12-volt power, I understand that. I just need responders to realize what the implication of that work is, why you might do that. In this case, I would open all 4 doors. Even if I just had the front driver, I would open all 4 doors. I would open the front, which is the front hood. I would open the hatchback at the rear. I would get this car completely opened up. And then if necessary, I would decide to have a personnel to kill the 12-volt, shut down the 12-volt power. Now, there are based on yellow, what's called first responder cut labels. These are designed for fire rescue, primarily to use at an incident. It could be used by tow operators as well. Everybody in the world uses yellow based except Tesla. Their cut labels are orange based, but they all use the black bolt cutter icon, and they all use the red fire department helmet icon as well. So what they're trying to say is, if the battery is not readily accessible, we'll run a cable, a first responder loop up, we'll put a label on it, cut on the left side of the label, cut on the right side of the label, take a chunk out of the cable, if that's what you want to do, to kill so the fresh ends don't meet. The issue might be, and that's what happened in Pennsylvania, and the Model Y, Tesla Model Y, if you cut the cable, which is orange based, if you cut the cable, it does not shut the 12-volt power down completely. You still have to dig and get to the battery on the Tesla Model Y and kill the second cable coming off the battery itself. So first responder cut labels may be there, they may be yellow, or they may be orange colored base, but they'll have the black bolt cutters and they'll have the red helmet. This is a Tesla Model 3, which is their smallest sedan. We've raised the hood. You're looking at the front windshield wipers on the driver's side. There's the orange label sticking out. What you would do is, it's saying that underneath that, you pop up that trim, that louvered trim piece. Underneath that, you'll find the cut loop. So on the Model 3, you'll cut it. On the Model S, on the Model X, but on the Model Y, you need to not only cut that cable, but you need to take a chunk out of that cable. You need to cut the second cable as well. And on the Model Y, it's exactly on the opposite side, by the way. Now, we believe this to be the first wrecked Mustang Mach-E, which is an electric vehicle. It was a rollover incident. This happened in 2021 outside of Phoenix. A couple of important things came up. The vehicle was in a high-speed rollover, so it's pretty well mangled up, but the structure held up relatively well. If the occupants inside were wearing their seat belt, chances are they were conscious and alert, at least, maybe even ambulatory when fire rescue got on scene. Look at the driver's door window. It's all safety glass, but the driver's door window is already demonstrating cracks representing laminated safety glass. You may find on ICE vehicles as well as electric vehicles, you may find the driver's door window and the passenger door window are laminated safety glass. In this case, you can see the bottom of this driver's door. You can see the Mustang Mach-E logo where it goes. You can also see that the cover door is open, indicating to responders at this scene. Chances are this is how the car wound up even after the rollover. The chances are that they looked in that where that cover door is open, they saw the electrical receptacle, and it told them that they were dealing with an electric vehicle as well. Now, on the laminated safety glass, that should not stop us if the fire rescue officer determines they want the crew to remove the window glass. It's no longer necessary. It's a nice to do, not a must do. Just use whatever tool or whatever technique the fire department, the fire rescue crews use currently to take out a windshield. This is a manual windshield saw, cut from the left side to the right side, for example, low along the window, and that disconnects the window, the laminated safety glass door window, from its track mechanism, which goes down in the door. The sides, both front and rear sides and top, are loose because it's a window. It has to go up and down. So once you cut the bottom of that glass, grab that pane of glass, and that entire piece of laminated safety glass can come out. You may find it on all four windows. For example, even the rear window on an Audi. You may find it on the driver's door window, on the passenger door window, on most other vehicles. I'll call them normal, but most other vehicles. For fire rescue, we used to always train that you take out the window of a door that you're going to force open. With laminated safety glass, it may no longer be a requirement for fire rescue. This is the schematic that is available on the app or by looking at the ERG or looking at the rescue card. The teal colored is where this Tesla electric vehicle is ultra high strength steel. So if my rescuers decide they want to cut the B pillar for some reason, I can look at the schematic and I can say, well, from the roof line down to the rocker, all that B pillar is ultra high strength steel. The A pillar, all of the A pillar, lower and upper A pillar, all of the rocker is A pillar. In fact, the diagonal lines indicate what's called collision beams that are ultra high strength steel inside the door. This is a Chevrolet Volt, V-O-L-T. One thing I want to mention, the difference for fire rescue, just for a moment, the difference between the ICE vehicles that we train on out back of the firehouse or at the training academy and the vehicles that crash tonight, real world, is in this particular case, they went on the driver's side of this electric vehicle and they did a dash roll. Now, maybe your department does dash rolling. Maybe your department does dash jacking or lifting. It really doesn't matter. The key is different from what we're used to with the ICE vehicles, that bottom of the A pillar will not tear like we're used to. So if you want that lower A pillar to let go, like what you do in a jacking situation or in a rolling situation, it needs to be completely cut like a box. And also, if you look at the base of the B pillar, the base of the B pillar was cut down to about the level of the seat, because then we avoided the thickest, most reinforced part of that B pillar, and it becomes a very nice push point or anchor point for a spreader or a ram that may be moving the dash forward. Cutting the upper A pillar up near the roof rail is not an issue at all. The metal is a little bit lighter, although it still may be ultra high strength steel. You can take a chunk out of it. You need to make more than one cut in that upper A pillar so that the cut pieces pass each other as the dash is moving. So there's the cut in the lower A pillar. It has to be completely cut. It will not tear. It'll shut your tools down. And there's really, it's hard to justify why you spend all that extra time and extra energy to cut a B pillar down level with the rocker when the patient is on the driver's seat and you're going to put a longboard under their butt anyway. You're not going to need that lower 12 inches, which is where the seatbelt pretensioner and all the reinforcement, where it pyramids and gets thicker and fatter. So there's two good updates, the difference between new car technology, whether it's ICE or EV, and that we train on, and the real world today. So I title this Dear Chief. It's been nice being a member of my organization, but something broke. The tool was defective. So make sure for the sales reps, the ultra high strength steel, they really mean it. Make sure you have a reciprocating saw with a blade that will cut through, whether it's Diablo or Bosch or whatever. Make sure that you have a power cutter, whether it's hosed power cutter or battery power cutter, that is designed to cut through the ultra high strength steel. It is cutting extrication work on an electric vehicle can be and will be the most difficult extrication work you've ever done. If you can use things normally, electrically, get the door to come open, you're so much better off than if you strain your tool to the point of tool failure. This is a Volvo XC40 recharge. So if my crew, for some reason, wanted to cut open this driver's side because of entrapment or whatever, I want to lay over on top of that what I could see if I looked at the ERG or the rescue card. Oh, by the way, look at, oh my gosh, look at this. The B pillar comes down to about seat cushion level, and then it turns into mild steel. So if my crew was having difficulty cutting the B pillar, I could tell, well, maybe cutting it at the bottom and laying it up might work rather than cutting it at the top and laying it down. And look at the C pillar. The C pillar isn't connected to the roof rail at all. So there's a gap there of mild steel. So with the ultra high strength steel, responders at the scene doing extrication work will not be able to see where the car is strong or where it is weak. Their tools are what will tell them where they are into a hard spot or where they are into a soft spot. It may also be the schematic from the ERGs. There is a consistent rule, I guess you want to call it a rule, in North America, in the United States. Anything traffic cone orange is 60 volts DC or greater. So orange cable, orange sheathing, orange connectors. If any personnel at an incident, if you raise the hood or you look inside the vehicle, for example, and you see that traffic cone color orange, it is a requirement that it be that color to identify it as potentially carrying high voltage. That's why all the manufacturers talk about the electric shock potential. Now this is a Nissan Leaf down that's side resting, and I'm doing some experiment down in Tennessee to try to stabilize it. Notice that the strut, which is a Kodiak strut in this case, the floor pan mounted battery is a no-fly zone for any stabilization equipment. So in this particular case, there's a strut on this undercarriage side. There's a strut over on the roof side by the A-pillar windshield area, but the battery is not damaged or touched or crushed in any way. So real world, let's go to California. Why not? So this guy with two other people in the car is up above. You can see the parking lot up above. He hits the accelerator. You're not allowed to call it a gas pedal anymore. He hits the accelerator and drives through the fence, over the embankment, and lands onto the roof of ambulances parked at an ambulance squad station below. So the fire department removes the patients by laddering up to them to get the patients to come down. And in the next situation, the next slide, you can see that they use struts. These are Rescue 42 struts, the red, white, and blue struts, but they're on the rocker. They're at the lifting points that are identified by the ERGs. They are not trying to support or lift the battery, the floor pan mounted battery at all. So in every situation, the floor pan mounted battery is a no-fly zone, period.
So for my friends in towing and recovery, there's been a damage on a Ford Mustang where the towing operator did not look at the emergency response guide and see what the manufacturer's instructions were. He saw 2 holes that ended up being drain holes for the battery. He put too many J hooks in it. He pulled. It's over $20,000 to put a new battery in that car. So again, as Ron's talking about, this is new technology where you need to have new information to combat it, so to speak. Does anybody have any questions? Ron, I think we're at a pretty good stopping point here.
One thing I wanted to mention, Wes, is I talked to an owner of a Rivian R1S, which is kind of like a suburban Yukon Tahoe type vehicle. He had a tow operator come to the scene who refused to listen to him as an owner operator. He was really tuned into the vehicle, and the tow operator refused to follow the instructions provided by the Rivian manufacturer and damaged the undercarriage to the point where that vehicle was totaled.
Yeah, that kind of thing has happened. Again, it's the vehicle's changed and you have to change your information to handle them. So this is part 2. Go ahead.
Sorry. Is there a place where we can buy the flashcards, the emergency flashcard type thing?
Well, it's part of the app. This is sponsored by the Clever app.
Okay.
First 30 days are free. $9.95 for a month, $60 for the whole year. Has over 2,000 pages of information, including the rescue cards.
Okay.
So that's the best answer I've got for you, sir.
No, that's
Everybody's
fine.
gonna get it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's fine. So I was looking to make sure they were all on there as well, or if we could buy them individually.
I don't know of a way to buy them individually. Everything that the manufacturer is put out on their websites is what we've captured, and we're actually going back and asking them, approaching the manufacturers if there is a hole they left blank in their emergency response guide. Also, especially my towing friends, if you see something that doesn't seem correct, reach out to us in writing, let us know, because I'm going to spend time challenging the manufacturer on some of this stuff if that needs to happen. So thank you, sir. Any other questions?
Yeah, you'll send us the link on the app in a day or so, or
Tomorrow morning, it's going to be one of the first things they do when they get in the morning.
okay.
And like I said, it'll be one of the first things they do when we open the office in the morning.
Perfect.
All right. I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. This has been a first training Wednesday. Every first Wednesday of the month in 2024, we're going to be coming at you with towing and recovery and fire and rescue training topics. I want to thank Ron Moore for taking time to be here and sharing his information with us. Like us on Facebook, the app. We're going to get a free offer tomorrow, but it's ev-clever.com. I want to thank everybody. Keep your eyes on traffic. Be safe out there. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for attending this evening.
Thanks very much for having the course, Wes.
Oh, you're welcome.
I thank both of you guys for all the training.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And again, first Wednesday of every month, we're going to make this a regular thing. What do y'all think? 2 of these back-to-backs enough? A third one would be too much, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's what we're thinking too. We debated whether it's 2 or 3. For the first Wednesday in January, I believe it's January the 4th, we'll be back with part 3 and part 4. Give us a couple days. We're going to, this part 2 we recorded. Part 1, we've got another place I can source that presentation with answers. So we're going to get part 1 and part 2 on the website. Give us a couple days. This is our first time doing this, but we'll have it up in a couple days for y'all. God bless everybody.
Just send it.
And I guess I'm gonna find out how to end this thing. My first time as well. Appreciate everybody though.
Wes, this is Ron. I'm just going to hit the red leave button. So see you later.
Thank you.
No, it's just your beautiful face. That's all I'm saying. No, I'm going to See the red button down at the bottom, to the leave. I got one.